Previously, we've learned one method to combine functions to get new functions. That method was composition. We can also combine functions in the ways that we usually combine numbers. That is, we can add, subtract, multiply, and divide them. The sum of two functions is given by just adding together their outputs. The difference of two functions is given by just subtracting their outputs. The product of two functions is given by multiplying their outputs, and the quotient of two functions is given by dividing their outputs. So if we want to combine our functions using arithmetic, we just do the function and then do whatever arithmetic we want. So to represent the sum, we write f plus g, which means just add together the outputs. To write the difference, we say f minus g, which means just subtract the outputs. To write the product, we write f times g, which means just multiply the outputs, and we write f over g to mean the quotient, just divide the outputs. We might not write the times sign when we multiply functions. We might just write fg instead of f times g. It's important to distinguish between f times g and f composed with g. So the times sign should be just a small dot. The composition sign should be a relatively big open circle. Let's see just a couple of examples of how this works. Here we have two functions, f of x, a polynomial function, and g of x, an absolute value function. And we're going to combine these by adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. And in particular, we want to take the sum function applied to 3, the difference function applied to 3, the product function applied to 3, and the quotient function applied to 3. So to take f plus g applied to 3, we'll need f of 3 and add that to g of 3. So in order to do that, we need to actually find f of 3. That'll be 3 times 3 squared minus 5 times 3 plus 2, which, just throwing that whole thing into a calculator, works out to be 14. To take g of 3, we'll take 2 times the absolute value, 3 minus 5. So that's 2 times the absolute value, negative 2. 2 times 2 is 4. So f of 3 is 14. G of 3 is 4. F plus g of 3, we said, was f of 3 plus g of 3. So that'll be 14 plus 4 is 18. F minus g of 3, well, that's f of 3 minus g of 3, which will be f of 3 is 14, g of 3 is 4. So 14 minus 4, that's 10. F times g of 3, that's f of 3 times g of 3. So f of 3 is still 14. G of 3 is still 4. 14 times 4, that works out to 56. And finally, f over g of 3, that's going to be f of 3 over g of 3. So that's 14 over 4. Now, it doesn't say simplify. We can just leave it like that, or we can simplify that fraction to 7/2. 14 fourths, 7/2, same number. Either one of those is fine. What we're doing here, when we construct new functions from old functions by adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing, is called function algebra. So we're combining functions to get new functions using the usual operations of arithmetic.